What's up, guys, and Happy New Year's. So I'm home for the holiday here and just goofing around. And some of you guys have been on me for a while that you wanted me to do a video where I showcase hits, headquarters in the saddle. Now, hits is not my favorite way to play Scourge of War Waterloo because just because of how much I know about the game. Uh, and how I've developed kind of the best tactics and the best strategies to use with the game. Hits doesn't really allow me to do a lot of that. Hits is largely about experiencing what it's like to actually be in command during a Napoleonic battle, uh, with kind of the same restrictions that they would have had back then. You obviously can only see what you can see from the saddle, from your horse. You couldn't instantly point and click and have your units instantly start going to where they want to go. Those orders had to be transmitted by a courier. Um, a lot of my tactics and strategies that I developed for the game don't work with hits. You can't do things like mash the charge button unless you're really close. Then you kind of can, because every time you hit the charge button, all you do is send out a courier. So if you just mash it, you're going to send out a string of couriers. If you're really close to the unit that you want to charge, that can still work, but it doesn't work as well as it does when you're playing the game normally. Um, so when I play headquarters in the saddle, I pretty much do it for just for the fun of it, just for the experience of it. I'm not really trying to win. I mean, I'm trying to win as best I can, but I can't do the things that I know how to do uh, in headquarters in the saddle. In a lot of ways, you have to give up a lot of control to the AI and hope it does good because you don't have a lot of control. You can't see a lot of what's going on except in your immediate area. Um, so you have to trust your division commanders and your brigade commanders and so forth to at least do the best they can in executing the orders you give them. So really, the best you can do is lead your men onto the field and put them in the best position you can uh, to strike at an advantage. And once your units are committed to battle, it's kind of on your brigade and your division commanders, if you're, or whoever your commanders that are under you, basically, to execute your orders as best they can. Um, so it really takes a lot of the player control out of your hands in terms of actually micromanaging your units. And you guys know from my main series that I'm a big micromanager. I put everything on take charge and I control it myself because I've just developed the tactics and strategies and the formations to make that work and be really good. But you can't do that in headquarters in the saddle simply because you just can't scroll up 500 feet in the air and see everything that's going on around you. Your camera is locked to your commander, your officer, who you play in the game, and you can move up a little bit, like you're standing up in the saddle. You can swivel the camera to look around you, but you really can't control your units like you can when you play the game normally. Um, so you have to give up a lot of the control to the AI. You have to really use your attack stances and let the commanders under you handle the units as best they can, uh, and try and accomplish the objective you set for them by where you tell them to attack and whatnot. So yeah, normally I don't play a lot of hits. That doesn't mean I don't know how to. I absolutely know how to. But generally speaking, I like to control. I like to play it almost like a tabletop war game. Like an old style where you can, you have the 100 foot in the air view, and you can see everything that's going on, and you can control everything that's going on, and you control everything that your units are doing. However, like I said, that's not. Um, I wouldn't call that like a historically accurate way of playing in terms of how to experience what it's like to be in command of troops during the Napoleonic era. The one thing I will say for hits uh, is in terms of actually experiencing that atmosphere and not knowing what's going on around you, and basically issuing your orders to your troops, and then praying everything works out. Yeah, that's how it was. I mean, really all you can do is bring your troops onto the field in the best position you can, and you know um, and send them forward, in a way you think that gives them the advantage, and hopefully once you give your attack orders, your brigade commanders or your division commanders can accomplish what you order them to do. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And like I said, I'm just doing this for fun. A couple of people over the course of the main series have asked me to do hits. Obviously, there's not too much in the way of hits play up on YouTube. There is some, but it's certainly not the most popular way to play the game. Certainly, most of the videos use just playing the game regular. So hits is kind of a niche thing. You really have to be into the command atmosphere, and not so much concerned with winning as it is just experiencing the what it's like to be in command of Napoleonic troops during the Napoleonic era. So let's roll the video forward here a little bit, and we're going to be playing. I'm going to be playing the no prisoners scenario from the Ligny expansion, which I covered in episode, I think, episode 10 of the main series, where I showed you guys how you actually would go about doing this, playing the game normally. However, if I'm going to play hits, I want the absolute stupidest, most broken, most overpowered troops I can have under my command, and that is the Imperial Guard, the French Imperial Guard, that is. Like I said, most of them, I've said this many times, most of them are level 8 elite troops. They are far and away the best troops in the game. And being that I am no hits expert, I certainly want the absolute best troops in the game under my command to give me a little bit of an advantage. So yeah, we're going to be playing no prisoners, and we will be playing the Grenadiers of the Imperial Guard. So let's go here. All right, and it's booting up here. All right, so here we are. Comte de Louis Friant, the commander of the Grenadiers of the Imperial Guard. And we're going to be getting our orders here in a second. And it says, General Friant, the reserve artillery de la Garde is already shooting at the enemy positions in and outside Ligny. Advance with your grenadiers and destroy the Emperor. Destroy the enemy. Destroy the Emperor. I'm sorry, destroy the enemy. Vive la Empereur. All right, so the first thing I want to do here is actually scout the ground ahead of me, because I can't just go up with the camera and take a look at everything around me. So I need to actually ride out and see what's going on out here, and decide where I want to position the Imperial Guard and where I want to strike from. So I'm not issuing any orders at the moment. The Guard will just sit here until I do, and I'm going to ride out kind of forward here and see if I can look for some high ground and see what's going on, and decide how I want to deploy the Imperial Guard, and then how I want to attack the town. The one thing I don't want to do is attack the left side of the town by the castle, because of course I know that's where that Prussian battery of artillery is, and if I send my men in there, they're liable to get blown to pieces by that battery. I can't just move them around and charge the battery and make them take every gun. That's very difficult to do in hits. You don't have that kind of control. So like I said, the best thing I can do is try and find the best position I can move the Guard to, deploy them, and have them enter the town where I want them to enter the town, as opposed to, I could have just deployed them right where they are, and clicked on the objective and sent them forward, and a lot of them probably would have gotten killed because they would have come into range of that battery back behind the river. I don't want that to happen, and I don't have the control that I normally do playing the game, so I have to go out and find a nice position here to set up on. So I'm going to ride up behind our artillery here, and this looks like a pretty high position where I can see what's going on. Alright, so here we are, and alright, if I can deploy the guard kind of in the center here and send them forward. These are messages from my artillery batteries, just letting me know that they have spotted the enemy and that they're going to engage the enemy. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the order of battle to click on Pettit, who is the infantry commander. And I'm going to bring him over here and deploy his the infantry in assault column. Now I'm not taking command of any of these troops. I'm just sending them couriers, and I'm also going to put them on hold so that they don't decide to attack from here. I just want them to get over here first. And you can see the couriers right there. They're riding off. Every command you give is a new courier. So the 3 commands I sent were to move Pettit over here, to select a formation, which was the assault column, and to set his attack stance, which for now is hold. So those are the 3 separate commands I sent him. And as he receives those commands, he will execute them. The first thing he'll do is set his position to move. And when he does, you'll see an arrow appear here for him. And then there he goes. So he's gotten that order. Then he's going to send orders to all his other units, and you can see the couriers riding off. And the rest of the Imperial Guard will start moving, and you can see some of them start moving. They don't all start moving at the same time like normal, because the units at the far end, obviously it takes longer for the couriers to reach them. All right, so as each unit gets their order to move and the location to move to, their arrows appear. So you can see one by one they're starting to appear, and the Imperial Guard will move over into position here. And I'm basically moving them over here in the center. As I said, it's closer to the objective, which is kind of behind the town, and it gets them possibly out of the way of engaging those guns that are on the far right behind the castle. I really don't want them to get bottled up dealing with that battery, because I know they'll take a lot of canister fire and lose a lot of men, and I have no confidence in the AI that it will rescue men in that troops in that situation. I can see it just standing there and letting them get bombed to hell, and who knows where I'll be. You know, I may not be in a position to see what unit it is getting bombed on and take command of them and move them out of there myself. You know, so really what I'm doing here is just trying to position my troops so that when they enter Ligny, they'll be further to the right, away from that battery. Now I know, just from having played the scenario before, that the French cavalry on both the left and the right side of the town are scripted to move around the flanks of the town and then sweep in from left and right. So if possible, I would like the French cavalry to deal with cleaning up the ends of the towns while we march into the center. And that is pretty much my plan. And once I send them forward on the attack, I have to hope I picked a good position and that I, picked a good plan to make this work. Because once they start moving forward and once they put them the infantry commander on all-out attack, it's up to him. And I'm going to be behind the lines because I can't get killed. Obviously, if I do, the scenario's over. So I can't go riding up in front of the lines and risk getting shot or charged by cavalry and trampled. So I have to let the Pettit, the infantry commander, handle a lot of this. So he is just letting me know that he's come into range of seeing, he can now see some of the enemy. And we're just waiting for our troops to assemble in this area. And then I will send them forward. And to try and help them to go forward towards the objective and not get caught up by, you can even see these guns right here, back here, and I don't want to deal with them. When I select an attack point on the command map, I'm actually going to select a point further east of the objective. So as they enter the town, they'll be trying to push kind of eastwards and away from the guns. I can always correct that attack point later on. There's nothing stopping me from issuing orders later on in the scenario. But just right now, I want them to advance and stay away from the guns. I know there's no real artillery in Ligny other than that battery by the castle. So that's really what I want to keep them away from. And I want to let the French cavalry come and charge them and get rid of those guns. So as you can see, our men are moving into position. Here they come on the left there. You can see them. Vive La France. And they have their nice tall furry Imperial Guard hats. You can see their flags. And on their flags here, you can see all the battles they fought in previously. So we have, what do we have here? Marengo, Ulm, Austerlitz, Jena, Eylau, Friedland, Wagram, Moskova, Lutzen, and Monorail. Moskova was, of course, Borodino. So, yeah, the Imperial Guard has been in a lot of action. They have a lot of experience. They're very high-quality troops, and that's why I picked this scenario. Because while they may be very high-quality troops, I don't have a super amount of experience playing headquarters in the saddle. I wouldn't exactly call myself an amazing commander. I know the mechanics of the game, and that's certainly going to help me. But to me, commanding from the saddle and actually trying to really win is nothing but an exercise in frustration, because you just can't do all the things I know how to do from the saddle. So like I said, we're just assembling our troops in what I think is going to be a good launch position here. And once they're assembled, I will send them forward into the town of Ligny, and then, yeah, Vive La France, and let's hope the Guard can get the job done. So they are assembling here and forming their assault columns. Now Pettit here thinks he's found some better ground. He's just gonna. I have him set to hold, so I know he's not going to attack, but he is just going to move his men forward and deploy them kind of right behind the guns here. And that's his call. He's in command of the infantry. So if he wants to start out from here, I am not going to argue with him. So he's advancing his division. And you can see he's still set on hold, so he's not going to attack. He's just forming up behind the guns here. And here they come. The final battalions of the Grenadiers of the Old Guard are moving into position. And, you know, like I said, since I'm not really going to have a lot of control of what's going on, once they are committed to battle, I wanted to do what I could to bring them onto the field in kind of the best position that I could think of, and, you know, still have enough time to get to the objective. All right, so here we go. We have our Grenadiers formed up. Now nobody's under take charge. It's all under Agai control. Now first we have to send out a courier to put him on all-out attack. Now you saw I clicked an objective, and it's a little bit further to the right of the real objective because I want him to kind of veer to the right as he's entering the town. So now he's going to issue orders. You can see all his couriers moving towards the battalions. And he is going to advance and execute the orders I've given him the way he sees fit. he knows what the objective is. He knows where I want him to go, but how that actually happens is pretty much up to him, because I've given him his orders and he's under AI control. So he's going to decide how he wants to lead his troops forward, and I'm just going to kind of follow him along here. Because if by some miracle the guard does punch through the town and make it to the objective, you know, I want to be the one to occupy the objective, so I know I can just stay put and occupy it. And I can slowly start to take command of troops once we're back there. And maybe, you know, get enough men into position to hold it. That's the general idea here. That's what we're trying to do. See if we can punch through the town, let the cavalry come around the flanks, and as the Prussians give way, we can push forward. So this is hits, guys. This is how it works. Stuck to our officer, we cannot move. I can move the camera up a little bit, just like I'm standing up in the saddle. I can move forward a little bit, back a little bit, but that's it. There's no zooming around the battlefield here. Once the guard is committed to action, I'm only going to have a very limited view, especially with this rough and tumble in the town fighting that's going to happen here. You know, I'm only going to have a very limited view of what's going on, and I have to trust my commander, Pettit, to handle the attack well, and of course bank on the insane troop quality of the old guard here. So you can see he's got his objective. It's slightly to the right of Ligny, of the Ligny objective, because again, initially I want his troops to approach the town and not get anywhere near that big gun battery that you can kind of make out back here. Here they are. So far we're heading in a good direction. We're heading for the town, heading for the objective, and you know, not really veering towards those guns, which I would rather the French cavalry deal with. Now, as we get near the town, what will happen is the troops will pause and stop, and at that point Pettit will decide what his attack plan is, and he will issue orders to the battalions to advance the way he wants them to advance. None of that's under my control. You know, I'm just along for the ride here. You know, and I will do what I can where I, you know, to help out where I can, but, you know, I also don't want to get too involved and mess up whatever plan the AI has for the attack here by taking command of too many troops or ordering to do too many different things. So you can see the troops have paused here, and right now the AI is processing how it wants to attack, and you will see that Pettit will release a whole bunch of couriers, and there they go. And at this point now he's issuing orders to execute the attack the way he wants to execute it, and he will lead them into battle. So this doesn't all happen at once. Each courier has to make it to the unit before the unit will start moving. So it has a real-time delay in terms of when Pettit issues the orders and when the units actually execute them, because of the time it takes for the courier to leave Pettit and reach the unit. So all our units are moving forward, and you know, as you can see, it looks like some of them are veering towards the left side of the town. That's not really what I wanted, but you know, this is Pettit's show, not mine. And let's see what he's got in mind here. You know, let's see how the AI does in carrying out this attack. Now, there are a lot of French troops already in position shooting at the guns, and I know the cavalry should be getting pretty close to weaving its way around the castle and coming in on the Prussian flank. So hopefully we can engage the Prussians and not take too much of a beating from these guns back here, who are already pounding away on Gerard's troops. And that's what I don't want to happen to my troops, because they'll lose a lot of men, a lot of points, and depending on where I am, I may not be able to do anything about it or get them out of there. And even if I can, they're still going to take casualties, because every order I send them, to take command of them, to move them, to pick a formation, all of that has to be sent by courier, which takes time. So I'm just advancing my officer, who I am, Freont. I don't want to get him killed because that would end the scenario. So I'm advancing him kind of behind the troops here. And as they engage, you can see them all running into position. You know, as they engage, I will help out where I can help out. The other thing is you see these stars above the units here. That is the commander bonus, because I'm a division commander. I have a pretty big commander bonus range. So any of these units between Pettit and me that we can give the commander bonus to will help them out in combat. They'll get a morale bonus, they'll get a combat bonus. You know, so this courier is no doubt Pettit, letting me know that he has engaged the enemy. And that's exactly what it is. Pettit is our infantry commander. And I'm going to begin moving forward and seeing what's going on here. So we're about even right now. We've lost 7 men and we've inflicted 7 casualties. And you're going to see a real fight here. There's no tricks, there's no fortresses, there's no abusing skirmishers. All the crazy stuff you see me do to really abuse this game's mechanics in the main series is not what you're going to see here. Because as you can see, I have a very limited view of what's going on. And really I am just trying to support my men and give them the commander bonus and get out from behind these buildings so I can see what's going on. Alright, so you can see in front of me here we have an Imperial Guard skirmisher unit, so they've deployed some skirmishers. And most of our troops have moved into the that kind of first row of buildings here. And this is a hard area to fight through because it's so confined that it's tough to bring your troops to bear with a lot of firepower, because it's just tough to deploy them and get a lot of guns on the firing line. Nevertheless, I would rather deal with that than dealing with those Prussian cannon behind the river that are blowing canister into Gerard's troops at the moment. And luckily it doesn't appear that we are anywhere near them, which I'm very happy about. Alright, so we've got 6 points so far. Way to go, Freon. So let's see if we can ride forward. Now I gotta be real careful about riding forward with my officer this close, because if he gets killed, it's a wrap. The scenario's over. That's called a tragedy. So we've got a skirmish unit. They're doing excellent. They've inflicted 27 casualties and only taken 1. So they're doing good. And I'm hesitant to move too far forward because I see a lot of Prussian infantry out there. So I need to get to safer spots. Now when you're going to move in hits, because the camera view never changes, it's always very, very important before you actually go to move yourself to click the Go To Me button, because you just never know who you've got selected. The camera view never changes. So before you actually go and do something stupid like you're clicked on a unit, if you go to move, you'll send that unit a courier to move, and then you'll mess up the AI's plan. So always make sure before you go to move your officer that you click the Go To Me button right here, so that you know for sure you're on the officer that you are in the game. So I'm going to advance up to my main line here. It's pretty thick line here, and you can see these stars. I'm giving all these units the commander bonus. You can see we have a melee going on. One of our units has charged a Prussian unit. Let's see how they do here. And it looks like they're doing good. I can see we're gaining points. 300, 325, and yes, the Prussian unit has surrendered to the Imperial Guard. Vive l'Empereur! As I said, this is why I wanted to play this scenario, because I command the Imperial Guard, and even this is the telescope here. So we've captured, our cavalry is engaging the cannon. You can see we've captured a gun, and that's exactly what I want. I want them to deal with it. capture the artillery, boys, so that my troops can advance and not have to deal with that cannon. So there they go. The cavalry's off and running again. You can see we captured that Prussian unit and caused them to surrender. So we've got 350 points. We've pushed through the first layer of the town here. You can see some of the Prussians are falling back, running for their lives in fear of the Imperial Guard. All right, and we've also gone and got Pettit killed, unfortunately. So now our replacement commander, Lieutenant Dalloz, who is Pettit's replacement, is coming up to take command. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit until he gets into position, and then we can start pushing forward again. These commanders that are under AI control, they just don't know not to run into enemy units and get themselves killed. So yeah, we have lost Pettit, our division, our infantry commander, which kind of sucks because he was a decent commander, and you know, now we're bringing Lieutenant Dalloz forward to command the infantry, and his quality isn't that high. He's irregular. So I don't know how good he's going to do, but you know, I'm going to try and stay up behind my lines, so at least I can issue the commander bonus to a lot of my troops and keep them moving forward. So you can see a bunch of skirmisher units moving forward. Now you'll notice the box around the objective has not yet appeared because I don't know where Lieutenant Dalloz is. He's probably coming from back behind my lines, and so hasn't received the order. He's probably like back here somewhere. So hasn't received the order that I sent him for his attack objective, because when Pettit died, the attack objective was lost. So the guard is kind of, all these units are acting on their own right now, and kind of doing the best they can without a leader. So we're just waiting for a leader to come forward. All right, and there is Lieutenant Dalloz. And now he had his objective, and he will lead his troops forward, and hopefully he's smarter than Pettit and doesn't go and get himself killed. So our troops are starting to push through the town. You can see that some of the Prussian units have formed square because no doubt off our right, some of the French cavalry is moving through. And you can see over here, the French cavalry is moving in on the left. So the general advance is underway, and we are going to push for the Ligny objective, which is back kind of back right here, I think. You can see it kind of obscured by the my flag logo here. And that's what we're going to be pushing for. And you can see the guard is charging again. Vive La France. All right, so we've pushed forward and done a good job. The Prussians are withdrawing, and most of them are out of the town now. Their lines are breaking. Our cavalry is moving in on the left, and we're going to hopefully keep pushing forward here. Now that Lieutenant Dalloz is on the scene and he has his orders, you can see the guard moving forward and pushing for the objective. I don't want to move too fast because I want to give the French cavalry time to get some of these Prussian guns out of here, because I can't just go and charge them relentlessly like I can when I'm playing the game normally, because I don't have that kind of control. Because every time I hit the charge button, all that's going to happen is I'm going to send a courier to the unit telling them to charge. So it doesn't have that instantaneous effect that mashing the charge button does when you play the game without couriers and normally. But we're doing the whole full Monty here. We're doing bare map, full fog of war, headquarters in the saddle with couriers. So this is as realistic as it gets. And you know, this is a fun way to play. It's you know, it's exciting because you don't really know everything what's going on. You don't have a lot of control of what's going on. And like I said, the best you can do is, so you can see one of our units is retreating here. They've gotten the crap kicked out of them. I don't know by who. They probably got charged by some cavalry. So they're falling back. But a lot of the French cavalry is moving in now. And, I have a whole bunch of houses in my way, and, I can't see what's going on too well at all. So I see one French unit formed in square here, so I definitely know there's some Prussian cavalry around. I'm not sure where they are, but I can tell they're around because I see units forming square. So, I need to get back. I'm too close. I can't even see where the Prussian cavalry is, but I know they're here because I see units around me forming square. So I need to get to a safer location here. So I'm gonna retreat my officer a little bit and pull him back behind the creek here, the other side of the river, until I'm sure it's safe for me to advance again and not get myself killed. If I get myself killed, game over. Alrighty. So we are still trying to push some of these Prussian units out of the last vestiges of the town here. And some more skirmishers are coming out. And now the game is doing this all by itself. I am not giving any orders. I've already issued my orders. I issued my orders to the infantry commander to advance his troops and take the objective. And all I'm doing is trying to support my troops by moving forward with them and giving them the commander bonus. Beyond that, it's kind of out of my hands. Because there's not a lot I can control in this limited view I have here. So we have some skirmisher units moving forward. So we've inflicted 1,280 casualties so far. We've taken 719 casualties. You notice the map is completely bare. We're playing with full fog of war. And we've scored about 750 points so far. And we need, of course, 4,000 for a major victory, which I covered in episode 10 of the main series. So we do need to get to that objective. And we are about a half hour into the scenario. So we actually need to get the objective fairly soon, or we're not going to be able to occupy it long enough for long enough to actually extract enough points from it. Now, hopefully we can get over 1,000 points just in the casualties we inflict as we come up on the objective. And that would mean we only need to get 3,000 points from the objective. So you can see some of the Imperial Guard is still lagging behind here. They're starting to move forward. As well as some cavalry is moving through the town. And yeah, this is what real battle is like here, guys. I haven't got the foggiest idea what's going on, except for, what I can see through the cracks of these houses, the spaces in between these houses here. I can still see that the Prussians largely control the area outside. We control the town, it looks like. And Deleuze, of course, has his Lieutenant Deleuze, who is commanding the infantry now. Pettit is dead. He's trying to move his troops toward the objective. First, he's got to push all this infantry out of the way. And you can see some Prussian cavalry out there, so it ain't safe to move out of the town yet. Although you can see some of our guard units are, but you can also see this looks like French cavalry up here moving in. So the Prussians are definitely getting flanked. You can see their infantry falling back here and being pursued by the French cavalry. And, this is all I can see in my limited field of view here of what's going on here. I see what I can see, and that's kind of it. But it looks like we are pushing forward. Our troops are still advancing. They're now moving through the houses. And when I see that they've moved through and are occupying a solid position forward of the houses, I will try and bring my officer through. Freon, who I am, I will try and move through and see if I can give my troops the commander bonus, as well as get a better picture of what's going on, because right now these houses are really blocking my view. But I don't want to move forward if it's not safe and get myself killed. Alright, so I've selected my artillery battery commander, and I'm going to try and bring my guns up and see if I can find a spot for them to deploy where they might be useful. So, see if I can bring them up right here behind my lines. And even if I don't use them, now you notice their formations and stuff are not appearing right away because, of course, my guns are way back behind Ligny, so it's going to take my couriers a little while to reach them. All of this is, you know, real time, and the orders that I issue have to travel by courier before it reaches the unit that I'm giving orders to. So it's very realistic. So all right, I see that my cavalry has driven off some of the Prussians now, and it looks like maybe it's safe for me to advance and get a better view of what's going on. All right, so there's still a lot of Prussian infantry. And let's see if we can get closer to the objective here and give these units the support bonus. You can see I'm already giving a lot of them the support bonus. Here I'm trying to work my way over there, but the passing is taking me kind of around, and now I'm stuck in a building. Look at this. Look at this. My officer is in a building. Oh dear. I'm stuck in a building. Where's the door? Can I get out of here, please? Is this hilarious? I have ridden into a building. I am actually inside a building right now. Can we please get out of here? Can we please find the door? There's the door. That's the door, right? Is that it? Okay, wait, we're outside. No, not outside. Oh, we're trying to find our way out of this house. Can we raid the cupboard while I'm in here? Oh, we're out. We're out. Alright, let's see where we are. Let's get our bearings here. I'm just gonna halt right here. Alright, so we're intercepting courier messages now. That's always a good sign. So the French have forced some of these Prussian units into square. That's good. And let's see if I can move up here. And so we're well past the halfway point of the scenario now. It's 28:35. We need to get this objective. And you can see the units the guard are still advancing. Prussian units are withdrawing, but we're kind of bottled up behind these hedgerows here. The good thing is we're doing good on points. We're now got 1,200 something points. It looks like we're involved in another melee because our points are going up. So I'm going to see if I can get Delos to be a little more aggressive here and actually charge some of these Prussian units and see if we can break them. Now, how he executes this charge and how many of his units he actually sends forward, yeah, I don't know. That's up to him. So there they go. So he is indeed charging some of these Prussian units, and let's see if we can break them and get them out of there. All right, so we've got 1,600 something points, and we're climbing because we're charging these Prussian units, and our troop quality pretty much guarantees that we're going to win. You know, as I said, the Imperial Guard's troop quality is truly insane. So we are close to the objective now, and I am really, really risking it by trying to. Okay, we got it. We got the objective. Well, Delos has it anyway. I don't have it. But if we can get this last Prussian unit, this last kind of bastion of Prussian resistance in here to break, then I can move forward and take the objective. So we have almost 2,000 points. So if we can get the objective before 2040, it's 100 points a minute, we can do this. All right, so we've made a Prussian unit surrender. That's good. Oh no, that's one of my units. Well, they did good. They got a score of 630. No, you can't have a battle without casualties. So the Guard is pushing forward again. And some of these Prussian units are falling back. Is this a crazy way to play, guys? Right? Is this frantic or what? I have literally no control over what the hell is going on here. Alright, so these units are... We got another Guard unit charging here. Boy, are they being aggressive. And I'm going to push forward behind them and see if I can't grab the objective. For me. Alright, so we have it. It is 2037. We have 1,800 points. It's going to be tight, but we could do it. As long as we don't lose the objective again, we could do it. There's still some Prussian infantry here. There's a cannon. That cannon has to go, so I'm actually going to charge this unit. And I'm close enough that I think I can just mash the hell out of it, send out a whole bunch of couriers, and I can kind of do my gimmick here, where the I mash the charge button. Unfortunately, some of these couriers are going to get killed because, see, couriers can get killed. So, trying to keep these units charging, get the guns out of there, get the infantry out of there. So that's why the mash trick doesn't work so well with hits, because obviously the couriers can get killed and not issue the order. So we've made a lot of Prussian units surrender over here. Our cavalry is moving in the back there. You can see them over here. We're still intercepting courier messages. And another melee. Alright, so now that we have... Well, you see, here they go again. They're trying to take another Prussian gun. Alright, so now that we have this objective, now I want to switch. I don't want to keep attacking. I want to grab some of my troops, pull them back, set them up in line, and try and hold the objective now. I don't want to keep pushing forward and move off of the objective. However, trying to get a handle on all your units from a saddle like this is easier said than done. So what I'm doing is just individually grabbing what units I can, putting them on take charge, and moving them to set up in line, kind of right around the objective. So we can hold the objective, and hopefully the rest of the French troops, Gerard's Corps, Pajol's cavalry, the Guard cavalry on the left, hopefully they can run the Prussians off the rest of the way without us. Because now that we have the objective, that's a bigger source for points for us than combat is. So we want to set up a defense around it, which, like I said, is easier said than done when you don't have a 100-foot camera and the ability to just zoom all over the map. Luckily, as you can see, the French cavalry is really pushing forward here. These units have formed square, so once we deploy in line, we should be able to shoot them up fairly easily. All these units are stuck in square now, and we're shooting away on them. And with the cavalry moving up, I'm hoping they won't stay there for long. So there is Schaefer's brigade. He has lost a ton of men. Not much left of his brigade. He's lost 750 men. He's only got 387 men left. No doubt it was Schaefer's brigade that took the brunt of that fire from the Prussian battery behind the river in Ligny. And that's exactly what I didn't want to happen to my troops, which is why we went over to the center of the town and tried to push forward from there. And I think that was absolutely the best move. So we got a skirmisher unit. I can't unsplit them because their parent unit is nowhere to be found. I don't know where they are. And so I cannot recall that skirmisher unit because they're too far away. So I'm just trying to get a handle on my troops now and set them up kind of in line, in range of the objective, and just try and hold it here. So here's Desprez. Desprez's brigade is doing pretty good. They have 200 points. They've lost a lot of men, but they've inflicted more casualties than they've taken. And with all these Prussian units stuck in square, when we open on them here, they're probably not going to hang for long. So we have gone and got another commander killed. So unfortunately, Lieutenant DeJoes is dead, and now we have another commander riding up to take his place, Lieutenant Miot. So before I go and try and organize this line, I need to bring him up so that I can actually use him to issue formation orders to the rest of the troops. So right now, all I can do is control them one at a time because I've gone and got the infantry commander killed yet again. So we kind of have to hold back and wait. Luckily, most of our troops are pulled back in a decent position here. We're holding on to the objective. There's still some Prussian units out there, but you know, we're counting on Gerard's Corps as well as Pajol's cavalry and some of the Guard cavalry on the left here to push them forward. Look at all these guys back here, just sitting here doing. Come on, guys, get into action here. We need you. Drive all this Prussian infantry out of here. Must be watering their horses. And I'm bringing my artillery up now. I'm going to bring Captain Autrich's battery up and see if I can get some gunfire going, because as the Prussians are withdrawing or just kind of staying put back there, if we can bring up some guns, we can get some more points, because it's still kind of close here as far as whether we're going to clip a major victory or not. You know, that's a lot harder to do when you're playing from the saddle. Some of the scenarios in this game I don't even think are winnable from the saddle. We're going to see if this one is. So some of these Prussians are giving way. You can see Pajol's cavalry just kind of running around and forcing these Prussian units to withdraw. So we've got 2,800, almost 2,900 points here, with 15 minutes left to go. That's 1,500 points. That should be enough, right? Another 1,000 points would be 3,900 points. So we should be able to do it here, as long as we don't lose the objective. And it doesn't look like we're gonna. A lot of units are pushing ahead of us. We're bringing our artillery up. See a bunch of couriers running around. And okay, so we've got another artillery battery. They've taken some casualties, but that's probably from guns that we've captured that are technically attached to them, because this battery was originally 240 men, and now they've got 261 men. So I'm willing to bet that those are guns that we've captured that are technically now part of this battery. So I'm sure the battery itself has not yet taken any casualties because they're way far back behind Ligny. But we're going to bring them up, because if we can get some guns out here, that's going to help us defend ourselves and get us some points too. So the front of the battle appears to be moving away from us now. You can see French units out ahead of us. I'm going to see now if, I still don't know where Lieutenant Miot is, but I'm going to try and use him to form the guard up into something of a battle line, or, a defensible line, something that we can, just don't have all our troops clumped together like this, because I have no idea if it's going to work, because I don't know where Miot is. So basically what I did is I took everybody off of take charge, then I took charge of Miot, then I sent him a formation order to move the troops, and who knows what's going to happen, because obviously all of those have to be transmitted by courier, and that takes time, because I have no idea where Miot is. He's probably coming up from far to the rear, so it's going to take some time before we can form the guard into a cohesive line here. Right now they're just kind of clustered around the objective. I got them over here as best I could, and I'm just looking for, I still can't unsplit this unit. I don't know where their parent unit is, so I'm just looking for other guard units. Alright, here's one. They've done pretty good. They're in good shape. Let's take charge of them and bring them over here. They're in the hedgerows. We'll set them up in line over here. And again, all of this, you can see the courier that I sent out, all of this has to be transmitted by courier, so it takes a long time to actually make things happen when you play like this. This is the real deal. So you can see our guns coming into position, so we can start firing on the Prussians that are kind of gathered out here. Set up a battery and start blowing them up, pounding them as best we can. And I'm bringing my other battery up over here. He's further away, though. I have no idea where that battery is, so it's going to take him a while to get here, because first he's got to receive his orders, and I have no idea how far away he is, and then he's got to come up. Alright, so we've got 3,300 points with about 11 minutes to go. Should be enough. Should be enough. That would put us at about 4,400 points, somewhere in there. So the battle has really now fallen back behind our lines. And you can see our unit that we moved out of the hedgerows is just now starting to make its way over here. And you can see Pajol's cavalry over here really pushing forward. Go run those Prussians off. Here's our supply wagon. And that arrow there is where my other battery is going to set up whenever they get here. And we have Outrick's battery in position here, so we're getting some casualties now. So yeah, 3,400 points with 10 minutes to go. Yeah, that should be good. That should get us to 4,400 points, and we will just clip it and get a major victory. Where the hell is Lieutenant Miot? Dude, come up and assume your post. I cannot reform the position here until you get here. And I have no idea where the hell he is. I don't see him anywhere. So you can see some of the cavalry moving forward now, attempting to drive some of these Prussians off. And they are withdrawing. So we got a lot of cavalry on the left here, closing in on Bry. Joel's cavalry is really pushing forward towards the Prussian position up here. Where is Outrick? I think that's who I'm looking for. So, okay. It looks like, I can see some couriers, so it looks like maybe Miat is getting close. Of course, all these units are on take charge now, so they're not going to follow their orders, so I'm just going to have to issue them again once Miat shows up here. I still don't know where he is. So Autric is up. He's scored 7 points so far. Not a lot, but he's here. Here he finally comes. There is Lieutenant Miat. Took you long enough, my friend. So now that he is here, I will go to me and see if we can set up something of a line here, and just instead of having all our troops just kind of clustered here looking like a mess. All right, so let's untake charge of everybody. And then we will take charge of Miat. And then we will set a formation here. We'll set them to hold, and set a formation here and see if we can neaten the guard up here and make them look presentable. Alrighty. So they're going to deploy into a nice long battle line here. There they go. Oh, that looks a whole lot better. Doesn't it? Alright, so we have our troops deployed in line. Looks a heck of a lot better than it did before. We've got our guns out front. And I will move forward to the front here behind the guns so I have a better view of what's going on. So we're at 3,900 points with 5 minutes left to go. So we're going to do it here, guys. Major victory playing headquarters in the saddle. How crazy is that? So here's some of our, this is Outrick's battery here, along with some of the guns we captured. You can see now we have the Imperial Guard set up in a nice battle line. However, our second battery that is coming up, they're no longer going to be facing the right way. So we're gonna have to issue them some orders to change their positioning, because you can see that's no good. That's firing behind our lines. So we will reface the battery here and select line. And again, this all does not happen right away because the orders have to be sent to the battery by a courier. And I'm going to move the skirmisher unit forward over here and try and recall them and see if they're close to their parent unit. And if they're not, then I'll just send them out in front of the guns to screen the guns. Not that I think the guns are in any danger. The Prussians are withdrawing. And I'm just moving me. All right, so 4,000 points. We've done it. We have clipped a major victory here. Still have 4 minutes left, so that's probably another 300 or 400 points. And Altric is now up to 35 points, so he's inflicting some casualties. You can see the skirmisher unit moving over. And that's one of our gun batteries. We'll attach them. That's one of the ones we captured. So we'll attach them and make them part of this battery. Oh, I feel so much better having the guards set up in a nice line like this. You guys know how I am about messy lines. I hate it. So here comes some of our cavalry coming back. Now I can see some Prussian units moving out here, and I don't know whether they're planning or coming forward or not, but I'm thinking I should probably start to protect these guns a little bit. Because I don't know, there's not much over here anymore, and it looks like these guys are coming forward. Now I'm not worried about the right because I can see, I think that's Le Capitane's brigade moving forward on the right. But I want to move one of my guard units who are not heavily engaged, and these guys have not been. They're in good shape, their morale's high, they're energetic, they're the highest troop quality in the game, so we're going to put them on the left of the guns. So yeah, this is Le Capitane's brigade moving forward. And hopefully they will stop up the Prussians on the right. And here comes our artillery. I don't think they're going to get a chance to deploy. It's going to be a little too late. But they're coming. At least I know they followed orders. You never know when you're playing headquarters in the saddles. Remember, your couriers can get killed, you know. Anything can happen. But nope, here they come. So we're going to take the skirmisher unit. You can see the couriers moving off, and I'm going to have them move. I tried to unsplit them again, but I don't know where their parent unit is. They're obviously too far away. So let's just move the skirmisher unit out in front of the guns to screen them. And you can see our line unit here has moved into position so that they can protect the guns if the Prussians try to advance. Got a whole bunch of guns moving into position, but the game is over. There we go, guys. We did it. Major victory. 4,477 points. So you need 4,000 points for a major victory. So certainly not the highest score I've ever scored in the scenario. But then again, you know, we were playing headquarters in the saddle, which makes everything so much tougher. But luckily I had the Imperial Guard under my command, who are absolutely the best troops in the game, and so helped offset the fact that you know, I don't have the control that I normally would have when playing this game. So let's see how Duro did. Duro scored 6,400 points. Duro is the corps commander of the Imperial Guard. So Friant, which is us, we scored 4,477 points. Pettit, of course, we got killed. He's deceased. So we can't see how all his units did because the other commanders that took over him for him don't show up in the order of battle. These are artillery batteries, so you can see how each gun did, but we can't do that with Pettit because Pettit is dead, so we don't get to see any of his units. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. We got him killed. What are you gonna do, right? So there you go, guys. I know you guys, a lot of you guys have been wanting me to see me play Headquarters in the Saddle. Um, so I decided, since I had an extra day off here, to go ahead and roll out a Headquarters in the Saddle video. It's not my favorite way to play. I prefer to be much more hands-on and control everything and really make use of what I know about the game's mechanics, if I'm really trying to win. But once in a while, I'll play hits just for the experience of really playing under uh, real battlefield Napoleonic conditions, and just for the flavor of it. I'm not nearly as concerned with you know doing amazing or even winning. Just to do it for the flavor of it. It's all about the atmosphere and the flavor of it when playing hits, in my opinion, and experiencing what it's like to actually be in command of a Napoleonic force from the saddle like that, like it would really be if you were really back in that time. A lot of people love this aspect of the game. Um, the people that love hits, I mean, they love hits, and that is literally all they will play. So there are people that live and die by Headquarters in the Saddle, and it's certainly one of the many aspects of this game that are unique from other games. I don't know that there's any other Napoleonic War game that actually puts you in a role-playing aspect like this, and actually you become the officer, and you command troops the same way that he would have back in the day, in 200 years ago, so to speak. So um, hits is really a selling point of this game, despite the fact that it's not really my favorite way to play this game, because as I said, I'm a very hands-on player, and I just know too much about the game's mechanics that what I notice most when playing hits is just what I could be doing if I were not playing hits. So when I play hits, I play it with a completely different mentality than I do when I'm playing normally. And it's I tend not to try and get too involved in the battle, other than just staying with my troops and giving them the commander bonus. Uh, you know, Headquarters in the Saddle is about issuing your orders and letting the officers under you carry them out as best they can, and that's sort of what hits is really centered on. Um, and Obviously, the real killer with hits and the real selling point is when you get into multiplayer. Um, if you can play with, a whole bunch of real people on your side and a whole bunch of people on the enemy side, then, if you're a corps commander and, all three of your division commanders under you, or three or four, however many divisions you have in your corps, are real people, and you can send them, free text courier orders and they carry out their order. I mean, yeah, I can see that being a hell of a lot of fun. Um, and who knows what the heck is going to happen, because who knows how the player is going to interpret your orders, whether he's going to act on his own initiative based on what's going on, where he actually is and his take on the situation. He could end up totally ignoring your orders and taking his own initiative and doing what he wants to do. And then that could either work out amazing for you, or it could be a total disaster, depending on what else is going on with the rest of your forces. But yeah, that's why, especially amongst multiplayer people, people that like to play multiplayer, hits is a world unto itself, and a whole nother aspect of this game. That you guys may like. I admit it's not what my favorite way to play, and it's certainly not um, what I show a lot of in the main series, because the main series is dedicated towards newer players, and I feel it's more important to understand the fundamentals and the mechanics of the game first, before moving on to Headquarters in the Saddle. Headquarters in the Saddle is a lot easier, uh, to play once you have a solid grasp of the game's mechanics and how the game works. Because as you can see, I'm not doing more than pressing a couple of buttons, and most of the time it's just me moving around my officer, just to give my troops support, and the commander bonus. But other than select a position on the field that I wanted to initially move my troops to, and then issue, put my infantry commander on all out attack and issue him an objective to attack. Other than that, I pretty much just watched, and just moved around to support, to give the commander bonus to the units I thought needed it. So once you understand how the AI works and how the attack stances work and how to issue orders via the command map, uh, it isn't that hard to play headquarters in the saddle, but you do need to know those things before doing it, and that's why the main series is mostly dedicated towards teaching new players the mechanics and the fundamentals of the game, uh, as opposed to trying to teach you that while also playing headquarters in the saddle, which is just never easy. Um, and also there are players out there who know way more about playing headquarters in the saddle than I do. I goof around with it. I know how to play it. I certainly understand the interface perfectly. I know all the game's mechanics. I know how to use them. But I don't play hits a lot, so there is a certain amount of experience in doing something that goes with getting good at anything. I'm okay at hits. I know how to use the interface and get the troops to execute my orders the best they can under AI control. But believe me, there are groups like the Dogs of War group or the KS uh, group, the Kriegspiel guys. Those guys live and die by hits. That's what they play, and they would certainly have a lot more experience at playing hits than I do. So some of you guys that watch this video, um, enjoyed it and think that hits is something you really want to get into, and you can try playing it yourself too. Just I've already showed you in the Grog Toolbar Demystified series. Um, I think the final episode, kind of near the end, I showed you guys kind of what the optimum settings for playing hits are in terms of the couriers at the brigade level, the bare map, and the locking the camera to the officer. And like I said, there's multiplayer groups out there too that live and die by playing hits. So you can always check out the Dogs of War group or the KS group if you want to use their mod and play with them. And those guys all have a lot more experience playing hits than I do, and are probably a lot better at it than I am, even if they don't understand the game's actual mechanics as well as I do. Um, as you saw, I don't get to bring a lot of that to bear playing hits anyway. Uh, so really having experience playing hits is probably uh, having more experience playing hits is probably better than knowing the ridiculous things about the game's mechanics that I do, because you're not going to be able to bring any of that stuff to bear playing headquarters in the saddle anyway. So in it's almost like a whole new way of playing the game. And like I said, there are people that love it and that's all they do, and they couldn't imagine playing Scourge of War any other way. That's their way of playing. And like I said, that's like I've said before, that's one of the great things about this game is you literally can play it in any number of ways, and the game it adapts itself to your style of play. It's one of the reasons that this is one of my favorite games of all time. It's why I've put so much time into this series. Uh, and I can't imagine myself ever stopping playing it, until the next one comes out. That would be the only thing that would stop me from playing Scourge of War Waterloo, is the next one. Then I would start playing that, obviously. Um, but yeah, that's it, guys, for headquarters in the saddle. I don't know if I'll do a lot of these types of videos. Like I said, headquarters in the saddle is not really my favorite way of playing. Um, I did it because it is fun to do once in a while, and some of you guys have been asking me to lay out a hits video, and it was something I had kicking around in the back of my head that I wanted to do. So now I've done it, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Take it easy, guys.